What's up, Buttercup? This video is, welcome. Thanks for stopping in. I'm Nana, if you haven't met me before. Great grandma to some. But anyway, this video is going to be about being sick and alone. Being afraid to be sick and alone. I know about this. It's very personal to me. I live alone, and I recently this year had some major surgery, and in fact I had to go to Cleveland Clinic to have it done. So I was just going to give you some tips on what to do if you live alone and you don't have anyone that you can depend on. I mean, you may have family, you may have friends, neighbors, acquaintances, church folk, but someone you can really, truly, 110% depend on when the going gets rough. Okay? So there's some things you can do on your own to get ready. And by the way, if you come down with a major illness, stress is one of the worst things. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do to make it worse, but being under stress is very difficult on your body. Y'all probably know that. So the first thing, and I'm just going to dive right in. Y'all know me. I don't like to chit chat. You don't care if I stand here and brush my teeth like some of these folks do on their YouTube channel. So I'm going to dive right in. First thing you need to do, if you're at the doctor's office or wherever you get the news or whatever, just go home and cry. Man, woman, I don't care. Go home and have yourself a good cry. Alone. Maybe in the bathtub. The water running. Whatever. Just let the initial shock wear off. Right? Your mind's going to be just going 1,000 miles an hour. You know, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my dog, my cat? What am I going to do with my car, my bills? What if I can't speak, can't think for myself, make my own decisions? Who's going to step up for me? Will anybody step up for me? Who do I choose to step up for me without ruffling the feathers of everyone else? And is it that serious that I need to do all that? I mean, stuff just goes through your head, right? Comment below, and please let me know what you're most afraid of when you live alone and you're sick. You know, like most folks, I'm terrified of falling down the basement stairs and nobody knowing it, and laying down there for weeks in pain, and my dog upstairs starving. So there's a way to get around that. That's my first tip. If you have a basement and you have to go down there for any reason, just even if it's once a week for laundry or whatever, buy one of these at Goodwill, 50% off day. I bought one for like $2. Just a little shoulder bag thing. And when you go to the basement, you take your phone down, you take a bottle of water down, you unlock your doors in case somebody has to, come in the house and save you, get you out of a mess. Write down, if you're going to be in the basement for a long time, all day, write a note upstairs on your kitchen counter and say, hey, I'm in the basement, in case, God forbid, you'd fall, crack your, hit your head on the cement or something and you're unconscious. You just never know what's going to happen. So if you're going to be down there for any length of time, write a note, leave it on the counter, make sure all your doors are open. I've even gone as far as, if I know I'm going to be painting in the house all day, I have respiratory issues, so it affects me greatly, the paint smells and everything. If I know I'm going to be painting all day, I'll call my neighbor and say, hey, would you mind calling me or stopping by later today? I'll be done. I should be done around 4 or 5. Just make sure that I'm I haven't passed out or whatever. Can you just check on me, please? And she always does. If she doesn't, she calls her sister. God bless her heart. And mind you, they're, late 70s. They're so sweet. So yeah, then what you do, you make a list. You make two lists. The first list you make is everything that could possibly go wrong. Everything. Think about, it's hard to do, but think about the worst case scenario. All right, you just got a diagnosis of whatever, and there's a lot of unknowns, but there are a few things you do know. So you'll know how much treatment you're going to have, if you're going to have to go to a hospital on a regular basis, if you're going to need rides to that, what kind of food you can and cannot eat. You're going to need probably someone to get you groceries once in a while. Somebody to get your mail, bring it in the house, someone. The big one for me, my worst thing that I worry about is my dog, Rosie. She's a rescue, and I haven't had a lot of time to train her and work with her on socializing her with other people. She loves me, of course. Who wouldn't? My ex. So that's my biggest fear, is that something happens to me and nobody even knows that I'm gone in the hospital or whatever, and Rosie is at the house fending for herself. Or even worse is, when one of my kids comes, sees that she's here and I'm gone, finds out I'm in the hospital, because I tell the hospital not to tell them. If something goes wrong, don't call anybody. I'll handle it. That's the way I've been my whole life. So yeah, I worry about the kids coming in and seeing Rosie here by herself and knowing that I can't feed or water her, and maybe I'm not able to call my usual person to come and take care of her. And I'm terrified that one of my kids is just going to go put her down. People do it all the time when someone becomes incapacitated or passes away and they have an animal, especially if it's an animal who hasn't been socialized, and it would be very, very difficult to place them with someone. So that's a major concern of mine. So put together your list of everything that you might possibly need: rides, groceries, pet sitters, someone to go get the big bottles of water, the big jugs of water, water softener, salt, anything. Make a list, and what I would do is really just go through a month and just write down. As you come to it that you need to do it, write it down. You're gonna need somebody to do laundry if you can't go downstairs. In your basement is where the laundry is. I mean, that's another thing. If you're going to let somebody drive your car, it's going to need oil changes. So yeah, make that list of everything you're going to need. Everything. And like I said, I hate to think about worst case scenarios. But if something should happen, you're laying in a hospital bed and you can't think for yourself. You can't make decisions for yourself. You're going to have to appoint somebody to do that. If you don't, it's going to be a mess. It's going to tear the family apart, or even worse, nobody's going to do it. And then somebody's going to have to do the paperwork to have the state take care of you, and you don't want that. Make sure and talk to, if you attend church, make sure and talk to them. Please, make sure and talk to them. The number 211 for United Way, keep that, on your fridge, in your purse, whatever. Make a list of all the important phone numbers. You might not have your cell phone charger in the hospital and you don't have all these phone numbers. So make an emergency call list, their phone numbers, even their addresses. And you don't have to let them all know that you're in a situation, but the ones that you would need right away, let them know. Just let them know. Just give them a heads up. I do it all the time. I go to infusions and I call my son. Actually, I text him. I say, hey, I'm on the way to the hospital for an infusion. I've told him if I pass out again, I've passed out before, and they called him. And I tell him, I told him, please don't call him, unless it's really an emergency. I'll be fine. I'll wake up. So just something like, just cover your bases. So you've got, don't freak out. It's going to be okay, but have a good cry. Write down a list of all of the worst case scenarios and the things that you might need if those things should happen. Get together things like the title of your car, the keys to your car, bank account information. And again, I hate to talk about it, but you never know what's going to happen. And you really should be prepared with all this stuff anyway. There are car accidents every day. Things happen. I have a little steel box I bought at Goodwill. And I have my will, my healthcare directive, my car title, my passwords, a list of all the grandkids and kids' birthdays, great-grandkids' birthdays, and their addresses, so that someone can send it. Believe it or not, I've thought that far ahead. So someone can send them birthday cards and Christmas cards and money if I'm incapacitated at that time. Okay, there's a lot to think about. If you like, shoot me your email, and I'll send you a listing, a nice listing of all of this, and you can kind of just check it off, and just put it all in a box. Buy yourself a nice box. Maybe lock it or not. It's up to you. Okay, and then make arrangements for your pet. If you have kids, of course. If you have parents who are elderly, maybe they're in a nursing home and you're going to need someone to, give them excuses why you can't make it this week, or tell them the truth, whatever you feel is right. And if, God forbid, something would happen to them while you were incapacitated, you need someone who is going to be able to handle everything that goes along with that. So, in the best case scenario, you have like one person who will do all that for you, have your back, organize, will make it happen, do what your wishes are. That's the best case scenario. And I hope that for you. So then you get a second, a third, a fourth opinion, medical opinions. And even you get a second or third test of the same thing, depending, if you got a MRI for whatever reason, and it showed a little something, or a mammogram, and it showed a little something, but they didn't want to do, a sonogram or whatever. You have to decide, should I take that farther? Should I say, I want that. I want to insist on finding out more about what that is. That's your right. That's your right. I mean, they're not going to be the one 6 feet under if something goes wrong. You are. You do what you got to do for you. So, yeah, get a second, third, fourth opinion until you feel like you've gotten one that it makes sense to you, right? It makes sense to you. And talk to your family, your friends, your neighbors. Talk to them. Ask them all, what do you think about this? Get on in support groups for whatever illness that it is you have. There's a support group for everything. Go on Facebook and get on the Facebook groups. These are a wealth of information. So online groups, support groups in your town, call the churches. The churches are a wealth of information. If they don't have a support group for what you need, they will probably know someone who does. Okay. What you can do, the only thing you can do is, you can pray, ask others to pray. You can get organized, get prepared for anything. That will take a huge amount of stress off you. If you think about it, if you're prepared, and if you know that if, you end up incapacitated in a hospital, and not able to make decisions for yourself. But when you know that going in that day, that your pet is taken care of, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fed and watered, taken to the vet. They're going to be loved. They're going to be played with and walked, play dates, whatever. Okay, that's a huge load off. Stress, you don't need any more stress. Taking stress away is being prepared, right? If you go into the hospital, you know your pets are taken care of. You know your house is taken care of. You know, maybe it's going to be winter and you want to make sure that someone makes sure that maybe, you know, the pipes are dripping if it's 20 below. Or if it's hot and sometimes you get water in your basement, that they know, you know, just write everything down. Just grab a notebook, 50-cent notebook at Walmart. The stress will be so much less. So much less. And it'll all be in one place. Okay? So that's the best advice I can give you. Like I said, I live alone. I'm terrified of falling down my stairs. I think about it way too much, I'm sure. About falling down my stairs, hitting my head on the concrete, and there I lay, and nobody knows about it. There are these not-for-profits who will call you every day. We have a nonprofit in Indiana. It's called Real Services, and they have someone, and I think one of the hospitals does it too. And they'll call you once a day. They'll have somebody call you once a day, check up on you. You know, do that with your neighbors. With my older neighbor, we check on each other. I keep an eye. I know where she's going, what she's doing, who she's with. I called her the other day because she had some man's truck was in her driveway, and the basement light was on. And I called her and she didn't answer. And I called again and she didn't answer. So I was starting to get concerned. So I called her sister, who lives just a few blocks. I said, hey, I'm not getting a hold of her. There's a man in the house. The basement light is on. Can you get a hold of her? And she did. She was able to get a hold of her, and she wasn't by her phone, but she just happened to have picked it up when her sister called. I mean, I was ready to go over there blasting. I always call 911 first. I call 911, then I'll handle it, because I'm a good person to have on your side. I'll handle it. So yeah, that's just, you know, being single and sick. And I've been disabled 19 years and single all those years. Actually left my husband. We were married 15 years when I got sick. And I basically swam in a hotel pool with too many chemicals in it. So overnight I was disabled. And I had a very good paying job. And he did not want to take care of me. So I divorced him. See, that's the other thing. If you get sick, there's so much that you go through. I was going through a divorce for 15 years from him because he would not take care of me. Just to give you a quick, he was an avid golfer. He was sitting there one day watching the Masters on TV. And he looks over at me. I'm at the patio door, on my knees. The door's open. I'm gasping for air. I watched him look at me and look back at the TV at the Masters. Even with everything going on in my life at that time, losing my job, using all my money for my meds, I had a little dog. As sick as I was, I left him the next day. That was tough, because even my doctor was it's like, what are you doing? Just stay there. Just, you know, he's not going to take care of you wherever you move to. Your mom's wherever. So just stay there. At least it's your home. I said, no, it's not my home. So, you know, you'll go through hell and back, psychologically, physically, financially. You're going to need that one person too. That one person who will just be there for you no matter what. If you've got that person, you're the luckiest person on earth. The luckiest person on earth. So I hope you have that one person. I hope you do. Even if it's just somebody's email. All right. So I'll leave you with this. Hang in there one more day. Hang in there one more day. And the most amazing thing can happen to you. It's true. It's happened to me. You're down as you can be, and the next day, wham, something happened that just turned your world right around. So hang in there. All right. Remember that time a long time ago when you didn't think you were going to make it? You were in such a horrible situation, and you didn't know a way out. No matter what decision you made, your life was just going to be horrible for a long, long time. Well, you made it through, right? And you had happy days again after that, right? Well, you'll get through this. It's going to be hard, but, and it's going to be tough, but you're tougher. You are tougher. I guarantee it. You're going to make it. So just get prepared. Have a good cry. Talk to your medical professionals. Try whatever you feel you should try. And pray. Alrighty. Have a good night. Bye-bye.